Howdy y'all, welcome back to the channel. I'm James and this is Clearwater Fishing, and today we're talking about the features that come with Vessel View Mobile and whether or not those features are worth the $200 or so that you'll be paying for it. So if you're curious about getting Vessel View Mobile and you're kind of curious, is it compatible with my outboard? You can do your online research, but in general, you have to have an outboard that was made in 2003 or later. It has to be 40 horsepower or greater, and it also has to be a SmartCraft enabled outboard. So it's kind of hard to tell you exactly what that means. You just really need to look it up and make sure your outboard is compatible with Vessel View Mobile. So if you're curious about how to install Vessel View Mobile, I have a link in the cards above, and I will also have it in the description that'll take you right to it to see how easy of a process it is. It's extremely easy, so if you're curious about how that's going to happen, check that video out as well. So what exactly is Vessel View Mobile? So we're out here at the outboard looking at my device here. This is the Vessel View Mobile device. It connects directly to the ECM on your outboard, and it gives a Bluetooth signal directly to your smartphone. And your smartphone will have an app that communicates with this and displays all the data and information from your ECM that's available. Now that we know what Vessel View Mobile is, what is it exactly used for? What can it be used for? So for this next part, I'm going to have the app up. I'm going to pop it up kind of right here for you guys. And we're going to go over all the functions and features of Vessel View Mobile. And then when we get to the end of this video, I will tell you if I think that all these features are worth it or not. Y'all are going to have to forgive me. I'm going to be staring at my screen and explaining what's on my screen, so you guys kind of keep an eye on what's going on here. So the very first thing we're going to talk about are the gauges. When you first pop up Vessel View Mobile, you end up with these three gauges. You have RPMs, the amount of fuel left, and your miles per hour. So part of Vessel View Mobile is that it's going to be able to track your fuel usage. So for those long hauls, you're going to be able to know how much fuel you have left. And later on, we'll talk about how it predicts that. So we'll get to that here in a little bit. So we have gauges here. If you tap on the RPM gauge here, you end up with this screen of more engine data. You have RPMs, you have water temp of your engine, and you also have voltage. And you can see at the bottom, we can swipe left or right. We're going to go swipe to the left here. And we have more engine data available to us. Gallons per hour, miles per hour, the water temp again. And then we have hours. First time we've seen that so far. Hours is important for maintenance needs. We'll get to that here in a little bit. But it's also important to know how old your engine is and how many hours you're putting on it. And there again is RPM. Now we can customize these by pressing the little menu at the top right, and you can add other things on here as well. We can add fuel. There's also oil pressure, oil temperature, coolant pressure, sea temperature, total fuel flow. You can put all those on there. Just note the ones with the stars beside them, you have to have those gauges installed on your outboard. So if you're with a more simpler outboard, mine's just a 60 horse, the only thing it has on there, I don't even think it has any of those, so I won't be able to use any of that data. So other than the other ones, those four with stars beside them, I can't use, so I'm not going to have them up. But those are the type of gauges you can have available to you. Going back to the main screen here, if you tap on the mile per hour box, you see your speed. You can see your average speed of your trip, and you can see your peak speed. So if you're looking to do some top speed runs to kind of see performance of your outboard versus maybe you want to move your jack plate some, or maybe add a different prop, all sorts of things, you can monitor that performance and record it here as well. You can add a moment and record that information as well. You can put notes, hey, new prop, okay, and you know what that prop is or however you want to designate that. Going back to this menu one more time, we have gallons here. This is the fuel management that you can do with your outboard. This is probably more important for long hauls. If you're in a tournament and you have to take a long haul across a lake and you need to know how much fuel you have left, do you need to slow down to conserve some fuel? Do you need to leave sooner so you can go slower to save that fuel? All those things you can do through here. It gives you the distance to empty and time to empty, and those works while you're operating the outboard. Right now, I just have it in the run position, so it's not actually running anything. You can tap the fill up here. It'll say, hey, you filled up your fuel tank, you got 21 gallons. Or if you're like me, maybe sometimes you're just going to add, I added 5 gallons to this tank, and that should be enough to get me through 3 or 4 fishing trips. So going back to that main screen again, you'll notice at the bottom we can have a map, locations of areas. You have history of what you've been doing, the maintenance and stuff, or fuel ups. It gives you the history of it. You have checklists, so if you want to make sure, hey, I created a checklist for when I go on long trips of things I need to go check or do. Winterizing checklist. These are just generic ones that they already had put in there. Or you can add your own checklist. Back to the gauge screen, you can press the giant plus on the bottom. You can add a moment. You can add a picture of a fish. You can add a location. And lastly, you can locate a hazard if there's one that you found. I found that is not really a necessary feature of Vessel View Mobile, and it's not really important to me. That kind of completes the gauge part. So next, let's go to the main menu. The main menu, we can have different profiles for different boats, so you can have more than one boat connected to your iPhone or your smartphone, whatever you have. Going back there to the main menu for the 5th time there. Going back to the main menu, right below saved profiles is we have faults. We can tap on the little down arrow. We have observed faults and blocked faults. You can see what faults you have had and see what those are and see what you need to repair. So if you're out on the lake and something happens, you can look it up and see what's going on with your outboard. Blocked faults, I think this feature is for a fault that you need to block and it's just being annoying. There you go. You can block those faults, whatever those may be. Hey guys, I know we're right in the middle of this video, but I really would appreciate it if you took the time to smash that subscribe button. It'll help me keep making great content like this for you guys. And also check out the rest of my channel. I make all sorts of fishing content, all the way from prop comparisons to introduction of new baits, to general fishing vlogs, to funny days. I do all sorts of fishing content, so I promise you will find something on my channel you will like. Now right back to the video. So next is the maintenance screen. Let's go on to the maintenance screen. If you're like me, maintenance is something that is important, but sometimes you forget when you did something if you don't write it down. And if you do write it down, did you remember where you wrote it down at? This is an all-inclusive app that will help you maintain your outboard. It monitors your engine hours and it will tell you when you need to do certain maintenance items. I have several inspects here in 99 hours: belts, anodes, fuel filter, spark plugs, and a thermostat. I need to inspect all of those in 99 hours. On the other end, we have replace. I need to replace my oil in 99 hours, my belt in 191, spark plugs in 191, gear case lube in another 99, an impeller in another 191 hours. So that's a lot of maintenance items to keep up with. And sometimes the clocks can get off a little bit. So maybe you changed your fuel filter, when you could. You had time to do it this weekend. I went and changed my fuel filter. Not a big deal. Already done. but then later on you need to change your spark plugs. So this part of the app will help you maintain your outboard to peak performance, and will help you keep track when you need to maintain things so they don't go past due, or you don't waste money and do those things too soon. So the last thing that we're going to be talking about on here is performance. You can do a whole shot measurement. You can select 0 to 20 or 0 to 30, depending on the application that you have. For my boat, it makes sense to do 0 to 20. 0 to 30 is pretty much its max speed, so no point in doing a whole shot 0 to 20. And on top of that, let's go back here. Oh, sorry, one more. Went to the wrong place. You can, clicking on the wrong stuff, guys. You can also monitor how your whole shot's doing. If you're making different changes to your outboard, whether you're starting at different trim positions or different props, whatever you're doing, you can keep track of your whole shots. So here I have 2 of them at 12.3, and then second place is at 15 seconds. I was just playing with it out on the lake just to see what kind of whole shot this guy would give me. Next is we have charts of fuel consumption, gallons per hour, speed, and then miles per gallon. This is probably more important for those long hauls if you want to monitor your outboard's performance, traveling pretty far distances, and you want to keep track and make sure you're not using too much fuel. Lastly, you're going to have this performance report. I didn't find it too useful on here. In fact, right now it doesn't have any data. I think it only works while you're using your outboard. So I don't have a whole lot of information on that. So you can have a report of your performance, but I don't think it's going to be all that useful. If you guys feel differently, let me know in the comments below. But I haven't, when I was playing with this out on the water earlier, I didn't find a whole lot of use for it. So I kind of forgot about it. So y'all let me know what you think about it. So the question still lingering out there, is VesselView Mobile worth the time and effort and the money to install it on your outboard? Overall, it's a relatively inexpensive way to monitor the performance of your outboard. Whether you're monitoring water pressure, fuel management, or you're just monitoring your maintenance needs, it can simply pay for itself by saving you fuel. It can pay for itself by saving you a maintenance cost, whether it's easily identifying faults or keeping you from doing maintenance too soon. So if you're kind of a performance junkie like myself and like the statistics and like getting better hole shots, better top speed, trying to get all you can out of your outboard, it's actually kind of fun to use. So to myself and to many of you, yes, I think VesselView Mobile is worth the money. Roughly $200. I was able to find it on sale on Amazon. I believe it was Cyber Monday that I got it. It was a Cyber Monday deal, and I got it for like $170. So I got a good deal. Just keep your eyes out there for good deals as well. Once again, thank you so much for watching. But just like always, until next time, get out there and go catch you some fish.